Alright, so in this one, we are going to be reacting to Goresh's ranking the top 10 best characters in the game, December 2024 edition, part 1. All honesty, I'm just doing this because we got nothing. We got nothing for content. There's nothing new. There's nothing like, oh, this exists, or this exists. That's out right now. This festival has been dry as hell, with it being part 1, as it was, half the units in the part 1 aren't even going to be used, and then part 2, you got some cool stuff, I guess, at least in Daima, in my opinion, but then you got kind of the mundane Majin Buu saga again, so yeah, it's kind of a terrible festival, the worst one in my opinion that has existed so far, but hey, nonetheless, I want to see what Goresh's ranking of the top 10 current characters are. I know there's a couple of days out, but to be fair, I just didn't see this at all. I didn't even notice this happened, so let us get into it and see. I just want to jump straight into number 10, so let's get there right now.
All right, so number 10 on the list, I'm actually going to have 2 characters here for number 10. This is not going to be like a 9/10 thing. It's just going to be these 2 guys here at number 10.
Okay.
I
would say Tagami number 3 is very much higher than number 10 for me, meaning he would go, 9, 8, 7 area, probably. As well as G4, it does not even touch the top 10 in my opinion, so that's where I'm at, just in the beginning of this one here.
Tagami number 3, because this is the new character that dropped alongside Dooogote, and obviously I've not talked about him in any prior list because this is the first time he's made an appearance in one of these videos. I think he's definitely a very good 1% sparking. He's definitely not like Evil Buu level when Evil Buu first dropped, but he is doing his job at establishing a foundation for the Daima / weapon wielder tag. One big, I guess, disadvantage that this character has, just immediately being implemented into the game on these new tags, is
the comparison to Evil Buu I don't already get. Wasn't Evil Buu like the same? I mean, Tagami, when allies are having themselves getting ultimate or blue card that would nullify endurance, he's canceling the buff effects. And that's for allies. He doesn't have to be in prior. And that's a couple times he does that. Evil Buu, he does that, but he has to be in prior. I mean, I'm just saying, it's literally an upgrade. Just put it out there.
Not got a single Zenkai buffer.
Yeah, no Zenkai buffer is
when we
true.
take a look at every character on this list, they all have, for the most part, multiple different Zenkai buff options across multiple different teams. And I think with this character being a defense character, right, as a defense type, his main objective and role is to provide defensive utility for your teams. Him not having access to a Zenkai buffer does hurt him in the long run.
Yes,
I think that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't have this guy strictly over Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta on my list. He does work extremely well with Dooogote. Obviously, purple plus red is that's
the intent.
Classic, just color type coverage there for those 2 colors. And I think his kit actually does synergize pretty well with Dooogote, namely the subcount manipulation. You can go into Dooogote with the rush, and then obviously Dooogote doesn't die to rushes.
Green card.
This guy also provides support. He is healing a lot, getting his vanish back through the use of drawing full hands back with his blue and green cards. I think one interesting thing about this character as well is he does actually have forced switching with his blue card, which is not something we see almost ever. There are only a very few amount of characters that have forced switching on the blue, and I think it could be pretty valuable right now. It could help set up a lock-in with Dooogote's blue card if you, let's say, force the opponent to switch out of
Dragon Balls, you
someone like
main.
Turles with this
Tagami
number 3 blue card, and then maybe you force him into Majin Vegeta, and you can set up a snipe with Dooogote, or you could even set up just a endurance nullifying Rising Rush with his green into Rising Rush.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, this guy I think actually does bring a lot of value to the table. He obviously has really good disrupt when he switches in. Another good thing about him is that he does sometimes help deter the opponents from transforming.
It does seal
we
mains.
Now have quite a few transforming characters into the game this year. Namely, the 2 that are popular right now are Vegito Blue and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Both are green, so this guy really does a good job of helping lock those characters down. And sometimes Vegito players like to dump their hands when they get their gauge built up and then transform just to refill it. That's usually how they operate with Vegito. Sometimes if you time things correctly when switching into Tagami number 3, you actually could just completely shut down their ability to do that. So pretty good character, I think. He's looking pretty good as a 1% sparking character. I just am going to wait and see how good he looks once we're able to get a Zenkai buff on this character.
And we're not going to get a Zenkai buff on him for a hot minute, to be honest, because how could you Zenkai buff him? He's not PO, so it's going to be weapon wielder or Daima. That's his only tags, if I'm not mistaken. Unless they add a new tag that's like, that'll include him and other like opponents, and then we get Zenkai buffs for that. Like PO was. PO wasn't a thing, initial drop of this game. So I guess that could be a way. Again, Weapon Wielder could get Zenkai buffs, sure, but they'll probably just make a new tag. And nonetheless, Weapon Wielder is most likely for equipments and stuff, because we have equipments that are Weapon Wielder, right? But 10 here for him, I don't fully grasp it. I mean, I know the Daima team's not some top tier thing. It's just this duo, and then you run MV third, Goku Bardock, Fusing SV, whatever third, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I guess. There's a lot of cancel buff effect there. I guess you could run those, but I would say just individually, for what's coming up here, I'm just thinking about the 9 through 7 slot, I guess 10 through 7 slots. It's not really high competition, this 10 through 7. It's all kind of meandering the same situation, and if the units above him are going to be what they are, that I think they are, they're not even core. I would say at least Tamagami, you can argue, is a perfect duo with Daima Goku, which you could just slot in a third, a leader slot, again, just put in Turles, put in UMV, put in Goku Bardock. I would say Tamagami should be not tied 10. I can understand like 8, 9 even, but the tying 10 with UG4 when UG4 is basically worthless. Again, yes, he's going to say UG4 ain't any value because there's a green that dropped. Okay, understandable, but comparably, I think Tamagami is bringing a lot more to the table right now than UG4. That sounds crazy because UG4 is an ultra. He's not even 6 months old yet, but he is. Like, he literally is bringing more to the table for your team. UG4 is very selfish and he doesn't bring much to the table because cancel buff effect is every single match.
But I think he's deserving of at least being mentioned for number 10 on this list here as it stands right now. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I think this is definitely going to be one of the spots that most people watching this video are going to disagree with. I think it's just probably going to come down to meta.
I think it's lower, if
I
anything.
play in Japan. I see this guy, I would say 50% of the time. He's very, very common to run into. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is one of the most common characters to run into. He does his job.
I'm just asking. I'm just genuinely curious. Is that your also experience? Like you watching this, is that your experience? Do you also run into G4 50% of your matches? Dude, G4 is like gone in my game. Maybe 10 to 5% he's in my queue. I run into Yellow Goku Black 50 times more than G4. Yellow Goku Black is a disappointment to all, but yet people still run him because, I don't know, they like him, they pulled him, they think he's underrated, whatever reason they run him, right? G4 is nowhere in my queue. I mean, nowhere. He is Exodia obliterated. Tell me if he's in your queue. He gone from mine. So if he's in 50% his queue, that one, now I'm kind of getting the number 10 spot, at least number 10. But for me, he is not in the American queue. At least where I'm at, he ain't in my queue at all.
Still, in a lot of cases,
even Proud,
he's able to pose a pretty big threat to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and I would run into him fairly often. I haven't done my God rank grind by the time I'm recording this, just because I don't want to wait another week before that. So I'll have to wait and see how prevalent Super Saiyan 3 Goku is when I'm actually doing my God rank grind. But Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a very powerful character. The main difference between Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Vegeta Blue is that Vegeta Blue does have one's Vegeta Blue Light and one's not. One is Vegeta Blue. Bypasses this guy's auto counters, which Super Saiyan 3 does not do. So that is one difference there. This character's ability to shut him down. He's like one of the only characters in the game, besides also maybe Majin Vegeta on occasion, that can shut down Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I would even say this character is more effective than Majin Vegeta is, just because with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you can simply rush him in a lot of instances.
To be fair, about Super Saiyan 3 Goku, what do you need to worry about shutting down more? His better version of Vegeta, which G4 clearly does not stop his combos, he cannot, or his worse version of Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So it's like, yes, he can hurt Super Saiyan 3 Goku. He does. I understand it. You do the green, you do the old, woo, things go great. But like, realistically, what matters more? Killing Vegito himself or killing Vegito Light? Killing Vegito himself, right? I can understand number 10, though, if he's running into him 50% of his matches. That sounds crazy, but, I mean, that's not my experience. That's all I know. Just a wild one to hear. I do not face that guy enough.
Okay, number 9 is going to be LF Omega Shenron.
Omega, 9. Again, the 7 through 10 spot's always hazy to me. I don't think G4 touches the 7 through 10. I don't think G4 or Ulton touches the top 10 list. 7 through 10, again, is a hazy spot because anything, like even like number 6, I would say, is kind of like hazy, but the top 4 is what matters, right? The ordering top 4, and then the top 4 themselves is what matters most. So I would say 10 through 7, you're just kind of looking and seeing, okay, what can help, but like isn't really doing too much, but is doing enough to be validated to be here. Number 9 for Omega Shenron, I can comprehend it. I'm not against it. I'm not aghast to it. I'm like, sure, why not? I would say this is a fine positioning for him. Could he be one higher? Could he be one lower? Could he even be 2 higher? Sure. But does it matter too much? I mean, realistically, yeah, no, not really. I think G4 is a different dilemma, because I think G4 is utterly worthless right now. Omega Shenron, he's not the most useful. I guess you could say he goes down because you could infinite combo to indestructible if you've seen those clips on any media, because I've seen them every media, actually. So, yeah, I can get this. Sure, he goes down a little because infinites and whatever else, Tamagami, sure. But, yeah, 9, okay. I'm down with number 9 there. Let's see number 8.
Move on to number 8. All right, number 8 is going to be LF.
Funny enough, I would say Treu and Omega are basically interchangeable for me, so I would have them, if they're 9 then 8, then I would have 9/8. You could swap them if you want. Treu, again, same boat. This 10 through 7, nothing's going to change unless I see something that's just like, oh, that guy made the list. So Treu, yeah, same exact boat. He does well. I think Treu's a bit underrated. I don't think Treu is as bad as anyone states. People talk a lot more heinous on Treu's name than most characters. I'm just like, he doesn't really, like, he wants Turles around him, don't get me wrong. He wants a beefy character around him. He doesn't want Turles particularly, but he wants a beefy character. If you run with Tamagami, I feel like you could actually make something happen if things go away in Daima and they kind of get a cool third that could do damage and have a safety mechanic. But like a revival character, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, I think he's competent. I don't think he's as bad as people like to say he is. They're not talking like he's terrible, but people definitely aren't talking positive about Treu. So, number 8 here. If you're in the top 10, I think you're a fine enough unit. Obviously, even if you're top 15, top 20, I think kind of that threading the needle of 10 through 15 is also a tough thing to do, to be fair. But yeah, if you're top 10, you're a fine unit. This guy, he's a fine unit. Is he some carry third potential character? No, but is he good help to your team, and he'll help your others do their better job? Yes. And that's his role. So you know what? He does his role. What else could you ask for? Let's get to number 7 here.
All right, so number 7 is going to be LF Ultimate Gohan, I think.
If I have UG4, well, actually, no, I have Ultan above UG4. Let's be fair. I think Ultan could make top 10. Not 7, but 10. That's where I'm at for Ultan. Though, again, 10 through 7 is hazy. I strongly disagree with this. It's probably going to be... I would doubt there's a higher disagreement than this right here. I think Ultan's better than UG4 right now. That's correct. Especially because the teams, because Ultan has Majin Saga, obviously. But 7 is crazy to me, so I do want to hear all of what's going on here.
This heavily disagree. Has gained some value since the release of the 2 Gokus in Part 2. This guy obviously is a favorable matchup against Super Saiyan 3 Goku for obvious reasons. Yes. And then I think this guy actually does have, more so than many other characters, has a favorable matchup against Daima Goku.
Sure.
Daima Goku is not going to be able to snipe this character in a lot of cases. Daima Goku needs to use the green card to get endurance nullification. So typically the way it works is he uses the green card, he fills up the gauge, he grabs a blue, and then you end up sniping through someone's endurance with your blue card. But obviously this Gohan removes buff effects when the enemy uses a blue, so that's going to be neutralized with this character on the battlefield. Super Saiyan 3 Goku, of course, has the I guess I would almost say just base endurance nullification effects active. It's going to be tough for him to really just punch through this character at type disadvantage. Now,
I mean, look, I'm talking from experience here. That's what we're all talking from. I'm running a 5-star Super Saiyan 3 Goku. 5-star. I've run him for a hot minute. Maybe sometimes he's Zenkai buffs. Maybe 1x. Maybe. No, definitely not above 1x. Bro. Because he only has 2 Zenkai buffers. That's why. Because the other one's a blast attack. Defense Zenkai buffer. It's terrible. Bro. I've been destroying. And maybe it's just me. But my Super Saiyan 3 Goku does not really get walled by Ultan. Tamagami is stopping my Super Saiyan 3 Goku. G4 will disrupt my Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Ultan? Yeah, I guess he could do well, but like walling, I can't agree on that. For one, the health star debuff. Ulton's gonna pop his green cards. This Goku's health star debuffing just a metric ass ton, so you're not gonna heal anything, as well as like he just stated here, you could just use his endurance null effect. You do pop that first life, boom, you rush after that. I guess you can't abuse the full endurance null effect, but to be fair, I mean, you keep entering with endurance null. What if you just keep popping out big moves? Like, let's say you run Diamond and Super Saiyan 3 together. Okay? Blue cards galore, right? That's what you're getting. I mean, popping 3 blue cards with Diamond Goku, that's literally his job. So what if I were to just pop blue card, ultimate? Just saying, this is a realistic thing that can happen. I've done it. And then boom, the cancel buff effects are gone. Then Super Saiyan 3, enter rush. I'm just saying that can't happen. I've done it. I'm just putting out my experience here. That Ulton is, I guess, competent. I don't think he's here. Definitely not walling Super Saiyan to Goku in my experience.
Ultimate Gohan doesn't have like these monster defenses or anything that like Turles has or something like that, but I think when you're talking about full 14-star characters, even playing field, best equips, best teams, it's tough. Like type disadvantage is pretty potent. You're able to feel the effects of type disadvantage, right?
I don't agree.
So I think this.
I can't agree with that. I'm stuck on that because Super Saiyan 3 combo is so long. You do, let's say you let's just give you a hypothetical. You go Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3, right? You get a full hand back. Great. Let's say you have cover null because you got a green card through gauge. So you go Super Saiyan 2, and it's gonna be Ulton because he's the only purple there. You want Ulton to take the hits because he's purple, that's the green. Okay, sure, makes sense. So let's say Super Saiyan 2 gets his green card, and then he has cover null and has full gauge, so he gets a full hand. Right, great. Transformation there, full hand. Do cards. Then you have that green card carrying over. So you get even more cards. Then you most likely get more cards, you have double card draw speed. You'll probably end up doing, like, I can't even give a number. Bare minimum, like, 9 to 12 cards with Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I gotta say, Ulton bare minimum in that one combo, that combo will reset to be 9 to 12 cards yet again, if you just get any ounce of, like, basic, generic Dragon Ball Legends luck. 60-70% that one combo, 9 to 12 cards, pretty easily, and he can't really heal it because health star debuffs. You're probably gonna end up swapping out of Ulton within that combo. Like, there's no shot. There's no shot this guy's taking the hits well enough to, like, no. I have not experienced this. I have a low star one. There's no shot. There's just no shot. Not for me. Not in my eyes.
Faces off pretty well against both of the new characters, and I think he could pair up well with some of them. Daima Goku probably less so because he really is like almost a one-dimensional offensive character.
Goku's selfish. Ulton's not, so I guess they could pair decent.
But Super Saiyan 3, I feel like you can kind of go mixed with him, Blast and Strike. So this guy getting helped by some of the Sun family buffs. I think he pairs well with Gotenks still. I think he could just be thrown on a Majin Buu team. He can be thrown on a Sun family team. And he can just be a very solid character. This guy has a very interesting, actually, interaction with Daima Goku. So Daima Goku is going to be drawing infinite blue cards every time he uses a green card. And this Gohan draws infinite green cards every time he uses blue cards. So you can theoretically infinitely cycle your hand. So you just draw 500 blue cards with Ultimate Gohan, and then you just turn them all into greens. Or sorry, no, other way around. You fill your hand with green cards with Daima Goku, you turn them all into blues, and then Ultimate Gohan turns those blues into greens. And then you just go back and forth like that. It's obviously not like a super competitive strategy, but it...
Also, I haven't even mentioned this. I don't feel like it needs to be mentioned, but like now we're getting to the end of Ulton here. MV. Listen, people are like say like Ulton, he doesn't die to MV. Bro. Ulton, just pop the first life and then just do the ult. Literally. Just do it yourself. He will always die. Yeah, Ulton does not live. I do not care if you do 10,000 tests at one time he lives. 99% of the time, Ulton dies to MV lock-in ultimate. I'm just putting it out there. It hits harder than you actually have the impression of, I would say, that ultimate, which is shocking, but it's MV. He's the best in the game. MV exists with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, with VB, with Daima Goku, with anybody, because he's an Ultra. I mean, Ulton being 7. you know, come on.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to mention that. But I think this character's just aging pretty well. He's got the buff removal. He's got the support to the team. He's got the uncancelable endurance. He's able to
Shin not being here is crazy, by the way. I'll talk about that after this.
Easy manners like Daima Goku, like Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Daima Goku, of course, can simply just use a green card and not use a blue card to kill this character, but at that point you wouldn't be locked in, so you can simply switch out of this guy. The main ability, Vanish Removal ultimate thing, is still really strong, especially against, again, Vegito Blue, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So I really do think this guy is still looking pretty strong right now. And I don't know. We'll see. Are we really going to get a Sun? I think the chances are pretty high we get a Sun Family Ultra in Part 3.
Probably.
That could help this guy even more if Sun Family...
He's about done with Ulton here. Yeah, Shin not being here kind of throws me for a loop. He also talked about Evil Boo, but then you don't see Evil Boo on this, which is alright, I guess. Like, I don't think Evil Boo should be here, but I mean, I thought he'd be here because he mentioned Evil Boo. But, Shin not being on here throws me really for a loop. I don't think Shin is some Jesus god, but what Shin's helping to absolve you of is, I mean, MV doing his infinite, because we do have the minus card draw speed, the destroying cards there. He actually has pretty good disruption on cover change. And more so, man, just sealing those blues. Like, you might say that's just one asset of him. That's, like, the biggest asset of him, though. Like, that's a very good thing you can do. You know, sometimes you're going to have a match where if you don't have Shin to seal a blue card, and then you have one character alive, they have their gauge, it's their last gauge, guess what? You have to proc the gauge because you have 4 blast cards. If you had Shin earlier in that match instead of whoever else you had, let's say Ulton here, guess what? Shin could have procced it with the blast. No blue card happens to you. Boom. You do a new combo. Boom. They have no gauge. You won because you had Shin on the team right there. That is a thing that happens. I've had that. I've lost matches because I didn't have Shin on the team because I had to take a blue card because I kept drawing blast. And it happens. You got to deal with it. That's the game right now. So I don't know why Shin doesn't make this, especially, again, this tied 10 thing. If anybody should be there, it should be Shin in my eyes. I think people respect Shin pretty well, but I don't think he's getting acknowledged here at all, which is very unfortunate in my opinion. But hey, Ulton number 7, I still heavily disagree with. Again, I understand the premise of what he's going for. You know, you're going to run into better situations for Sun Fam. He's getting a little bit of buffs. He's good against new units. Sure. But these new units aren't the best units in the game still. Even if he's good against Vegito even, Vegito's always running with MV, so yes, he could be good against one, but how about the other? I mean, Gotenks is not stopping MV in his tracks every single match, right? Let's be honest with ourselves here. So if you're running Ulton and Gotenks, things aren't ending. And he said Daima Goku and Ulton don't pair that great, so it would be Gotenks. And yet again, Ulton's not even core, so you're not running Ulton. So I don't know why he is so high. I don't agree at all, but I think he still could be top 10. It would just be number 10. I see number 6 here.
6. All right, so coming in at number 6, we're going to have Transforming LF Super Saiyan 3 Goku.
6?
This is one of the 2 new...
What? I had Turles 6. That's all I remember from my tier list besides, like, well, from the, 6 and up I remember, but, 6? I had this Goku tied 3/4, if I'm not mistaken. Damn, 6? Wow. What is the reason? Okay.
LF characters released in part 2 of
I guess Turles is 5.
This is 5. Certainly far and away the hardest character I had to evaluate and place in this list. And the reason is because this character, to me, is essentially just a worse Vegito Blue.
Correct.
And when you end up having a character that is essentially just a worse version of another character that is meta, the merit to running this character really just isn't there, right? Take a look at every team that Vegito Blue is on. Take a look at every team this character is on. The only team you're really running this guy on that you're not...
Teams don't matter, leader slot. But I understand his point, yes. Just teams don't exist.
Vegito Blue on is Boo Saga, I guess. I mean... And the argument there even, like, I mean, Sun Family, I guess you're running this character on as well. But
I mean,
in every one of those scenarios, too, you could just make the argument that I'd rather just run leader slot Vegito Blue.
There you go. There it is.
Like, Vegito Blue is just... He's just way too important to run right now. If you want to be competitive at all, I just think Vegito Blue is way too competitive to not
100%. I don't think this Goku is bad, though.
This guy, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's number 6 on this list for a reason. He's very, very powerful.
Okay. Good to hear.
I just really, I fail to see an instance where you're like, okay, I got to choose between Vegito Blue and this character. I'm choosing this guy over Vegito Blue. It's not really going to happen.
Listen, I 1000% agree with what he's saying right here. I've been saying this since usage of this character. It's just, he's a worse Vegito. Why would I ever run him? Why would you summon for him? He's just worse Vegito. I agree. I am on the same page. But still, I do think this is a tad bit lower than he should be. I really think bare minimum. I don't think he has to be 3 or 4. I don't think he has to be there. That's just where I put him. He has to be above Turles, though. Yeah. I'm going to listen for Turles' explanation when it happens. Most likely next. If he's not 5, I'm just bewildered. But I think it's just a little lower than it should be.
This is a list that is considering best possible teams and situations for every unit. I don't know. And then I guess the argument would be, oh, well, you just run both of them together. Yeah. At that point, I would probably not want to do that. It's just, I think it's running 2 characters like that without having
they're both selfish as well. It's not that great.
Defensive abilities.
And
that's certainly one issue with this character. His defensive mechanics are certainly not great. He has one of the most unimpressive defensive mechanic lists or list of mechanics.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
It kind of reminds me of like, you know what this guy is? He's almost like what LF Broly should have been. This guy, to me, definitely feels a lot more powerful offensively than Broly even did on release. Even though they both have, like, pretty poor defenses. Like, what is this guy doing defensively? Like, almost nothing.
I still think that Red Broly was a little bit underrated. I think he was pretty decent on release. Again, UG4 would still just ignore his, like, pseudo-lock, or rather, his UI lock that he had via his gauge. But that was one character. I guess Ultra Gohan was running around a little bit, but, I mean, again, that's 1 to 2 characters, and Broly was just doing pretty good. In my experience, Broly was not high stars, still not high stars for me. I just think that Broly was a bit underrated. I'm just saying, I don't think he was that bad. He wasn't great. Still one of the worst LF release 2024.
I feel like if I'm running Vegito, I'm probably picking better, like, I don't know. I will say better characters to run. Like, I'd run him with Majin Vegeta, I'd run him with Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, Daima Goku. Yep. I think there's better units to run on a team with him that are going to help fulfill the other roles that the team needs. Because, like, honestly, if you think about it, Vegito Blue by himself a lot of times has the offensive side of the team covered for you.
Correct.
As opposed to this guy.
So I understand what he's going for here. And I'm not 100% on board and 100% off board. Like, yes, I agree. You do not need this character. You already have a better version of him. Why do you need him? Especially him being green. It's a terrible decision. I keep saying this. And people are like, Majin Buu's not going to need an LF that was green. They only have 1% Evil Boo. Dude, who gives a shit? Why couldn't he be in yellow? I mean, we only have an Ultra that's, being competent right now that could be run as the yellow. Why couldn't he be yellow? It's just a pseudo option to MV. Not saying he needs to be some god comparable. He could have the same kit. Just make him a different yellow. Once MV gets hard countered, boom, Super Saiyan 3 Goku is the one you're going to be running into. That could have been a thing. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I think it was a terrible decision to make him green. But I understand what he's going for. Again, I would say he should be above Turles, which, again, I assume is next. So let me just stop yapping about should be above, and let's see if he actually, is next.
All right, this is going to be a pretty...
Cool. Wow, this is a minute segment. Great. Oh, look! 4-3 tied. Fantastic. Number 5, though, Turles. Again, I think these two would bare minimum swap. Like, he keeps saying, yes, he is worse Vegito, yes. The saving grace to Super Saiyan 3 would just be the endurance null. You can snipe out MV, right? MV is not canceling buff X on a rush, which is pretty neat. Do a green card, do a rush, no sub-cam manipulation happening there. Boom, boom. You get the kill. And that's some little niche setting you could have. But in a general sense, Turles, this is not a bad placement for him, I would say. It's just, like I said in the beginning, top 4 is all that really matters, the order and, the units in of. But, Turles, I think is... Yeah, I know. I just think he should be up below. Let me just hear this. It's literally only a minute.
Here. Ultra Turles at number 5. I don't really feel like this guy's net change in value really is that significant. A new green character comes out. Very strong green character in Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Obviously, that's not good for Turles. But then Turles, I think, is one of the best possible characters to use against Daima Goku. Who me personally, again, this is based on my experience.
I think he's right.
I see Daima Goku probably twice as often as I see Super Saiyan 3 Goku.
That's the opposite for me.
And so this Turles,
I've read Super Saiyan 3 much more.
Even maybe more so than Lost Value has gained a little bit of value from the last list, but the net effect is not really anything to really talk about. So I'm going to have him at number 5. Still, I would say the best defensive character in the game. His coming on to the next spot. Okay, so spots number 3 and 4.
So Gotenks and Daima 4/3, and then 2 and 1 are the same category. You can assume what's going on there. Daima Goku 4, huh? If I'm not mistaken, I would have Daima Goku 5. That's where I was looking at. I think that's where I had him. I definitely have him above Turles. These 2 new units were above Turles for me. Daima Goku. Because the thing is with Daima Goku, this is where I look at it's just like why Super Saiyan 3 would be above. And again, I can understand an argument for Daima being above as well. But Super Saiyan 3 right now would be above for me just because Majin Buu Saga. Like, yes, he mentioned you can run just leader slot, but we can say that about everything. I could say, Gotenks. Well, I don't have to run Gotenks. I could just run Vegito instead, and I could just leader slot Vegito, MV, and then Daima Goku. But you're intending to run Majin Buu Saga, so because that's the best team in the game. The Super Saiyan Goku having a situation to be well off with Gotenks here, I would say that team synergy and the color synergy, green-red is color synergy, obviously, would be better off than any team Daima can go on. I don't know what team is particularly perfect for him. He doesn't have a perfect third. This is my issue with Daima Goku right now. I'm Proud, you can do whatever you want with whatever, honestly. You just do whatever you want over there in Proud, and it's good stuff, but we're talking about standard here, most people, because that's what most people play. Because it seems like the better mode. But there's no third with Daima's team. And maybe he'll mention something that I just haven't thought about that's like perfect. But Goku Bardock's not perfect. Fusing SV's not perfect. UMV, it's just UMV there at that point. It's just him being selfish and doing everything. Super Saiyan 3 third isn't perfect. Like, there's no perfect third with Tamagami, Daima, and third. And that's my issue with Daima Goku. It's not individually. Like, they're both pretty slow and mediocre in the beginning, Super Saiyan 2 and Daima Goku, but it more comes down to the team thing for me here. And if you could run Sword of Hope with Daima Goku and Tamagami, that'd be great, but you don't get Sword of Hope's endurance unless he's with a hybrid Vegeta Clan or future character, so you can't do that. And because you can't do that, there's no third. Sword of Hope is a competent character. He's like a top 15 right now. It's awesome. Got a plat, did a lot of good work. It sucks that a new green dropped, but still, he still has pretty good competency, especially with Tamagami. But Daima just has no perfect third because that can't exist. So let me hear this.
Are going to be shared between Daima Goku, Super Saiyan Goku Mini, and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. I had trouble really picking who I thought was better. If you really held me to gunpoint and were like, pick a character or I'm going to shoot you, I'd probably pick Daima Goku. It's very close. I think there's different pros and cons to both characters. I'll go through some pros and cons to each. But at the end of the day, there's really no correct answer here for me. I don't think it's very close. Okay. So for Daima Goku, I mean, this character has one of the most explosive offenses we've seen
after a little bit of time.
In recent days. I think he's very comparable to Majin Vegeta in that regard. Majin Vegeta probably has the more explosive, just burst lock-in potential. Yes. But this Goku's strike cards and just basic attacks are certainly doing more damage than Majin Vegeta, at least in my experience.
After a little bit of time, really again, Daima Goku has to pop 3 greens for his peak damage. That doesn't happen frame 0, right? MV is pretty easy. I guess you get a green card for extra damage, but MV is very much doing, most times, at least, a longer combo than Daima, as well as having a pseudo lock. So in a general scheme, not card for card, but general scheme of combo to combo, MV should be hitting harder, for the most part, especially because you would just, if they do a combo, guess what? Gauge pop, blue card, you get a combo. That's basically 2 combos just for free because, 50-50s or 50-50s.
With the first 10 counts. You just get a lucky green, and then you get a second green off of filling the gauge up, and then you just kill somebody with the blue. It can happen. It's happened many times. I've done it many times. Same. I don't disagree. This character has one of the... This is probably the most important thing I would even say about this character. He's one of the best defensive mechanics in the entire game. Talked about it earlier. I don't remember who it was for. I think it was for Ultimate Gohan. Was it? I don't remember. But this guy does have the ability to remove buff effects from standby when the opponent uses a Rising Rush, which actually does hurt Gotenks a little bit, because one of Gotenks' most valuable things that he can do is gain endurance nullification from his main ability, and then hit the Rising Rush to penetrate through endurance on characters like Majin and Vegeta. So, with Daima Goku at least on the team, not even necessarily on the battlefield, he can remove that endurance nullification. So, I assume we're going to be getting more characters.
Right now, it's not that important because you're running, he's the endurance character, so you're meant to have him take the rush, right? But obviously in the future that'll gain value. It's just right now, like, yes, that's a strong ability, but it's not as strong as it will become when you run him with whatever third that is obviously optimized for that setting. It's a good ability. It just becomes better over time, which, you know, helps.
Or that have endurance nullification tied to rising rushes, whether it's the same mechanic that like Ultra Vegito Blue has or whatever they're going to do. This guy removing those buff effects on
those cannot be canceled.
Very strong because you don't have to switch into him. Really, really insane.
Which is
him getting 2 Dragon Balls in his main ability, especially when you compare that, or I guess pair that up with the fact that he does get endurance null on green card. I mean, you can catch somebody completely off guard. You can potentially rising rush somebody with endurance nullification in this character in like the first 15 counts. Like,
he's right. I don't deny it. He's right.
This guy has the ability. It's like 2 Dragon Balls on main ability is actually pretty crazy.
I've
actually found myself doing this exact thing.
Green card main rush.
And I actually did mention this in the breakdown when we first saw what his main ability did. I think I more often use his main ability just to get the Dragon Balls from it than to actually use the ultimate. The ultimate is a projectile, which is not the worst thing ever because you're mostly going to be using it mid-combo anyway, but this guy having the ability to gain 2 Dragon Balls from the main ability, to me, I find a lot of times that is the more valuable point of the main ability, even more so than the ultimate itself. That's really, really strong.
Correct.
And then just in terms of some cons for this character, he definitely doesn't have the greatest defenses. He can get hit very, very hard.
Both of them
he does have one of the worst double card draw speed conditions we've seen on modern allied characters. The enemy has to use an ultimate for him to get double card draw speed, which is really bad. It's just not consistent whatsoever. You have no control over when your opponent is using their ultimate. So,
it's really bad.
It's very tough to get consistency with this character having double card draw speed. To be fair, that's not really what he's designed to do. He's not really designed to be doing these super long combos because a lot of times your hand does end up getting, if you do that, your hand ends up getting clogged with blue cards sometimes, but that is kind of annoying because double card draw speed does allow you to stall, which is very valuable in certain aspects of the fight.
Yes.
And then one other weakness about this character is he does have pretty weak Zenkai bench options. This guy has access to the Zenkai Kakarot Goku, who is a very good HP buffer for him. But remember, that Zenkai Kakarot Goku is only about half the potency of a normal Zenkai. So we're really waiting for like a really strong red Sun Family Zenkai bench or a red Saiyan Zenkai bench that actually does give 2 stacks of the ability. I was looking at that blue Super Saiyan Goku from the future, sort of the counterpart to the purple Vegeta that we got at Zenkai 4 a few weeks ago. Could have been an interesting choice here. I'm not sure if they'll do that or not, but
we wish.
This guy's Zenkai bench options, and this is honestly the same issue we saw with like Super Vegeta 2 is Red Saiyans don't really have the greatest Zenkai bench options, so that kind of hurts this guy a little bit. It's not like, oh my god, he's terrible now because of that,
but if he had one,
something to mention. He's just getting less stats than most other characters would be from Zenkai benches. For Gotenks,
no team mention on Dooogote. Okay, again, I mentioned the team thing. That is my biggest dilemma with him. Again, his early game being kind of wishy-washy. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. I can get over that hurdle. Gotenks' flaws, I mean, it's like a tit for tat. You're a trade-off there. I know he's going to mention here, Dooogote does better individual card for card, like you mentioned with MV, but Gotenks can combo much longer. The thing with Gotenks is he's going to enable your best units. He's enabling your Vegito and your MV. You run Gotenks, MV, VB. And then Gotenks, sidestep green card. Okay, MV is an AoE green now. Sidestep green card. Okay, VB has a green card. Now he just infinite combos everything through the entire world. He gets his gauge faster. The better he is. The better he's going to 1v3 the match. Gotenks is enabling better. Gotenks is not individually probably better than Dooogote on a front-to-front of damage, which they are technically damage dealers, but on the front of helping and the better team synergy, I would say Gotenks there. But again, these two being kind of in this mix of between the two is actually interesting to me. I have not really seen many people say Dooogote's better in a general sense just because of the team issue that he runs into, which I'm, again, surprised he didn't mention Dooogote's team issue because he's starting to talk about Gotenks here. But I'm not opposed to this. I'm just more interested that he feels this way. I haven't seen many people feel this way. But nonetheless, we go to the top 1/2, which...
All right, so number 2.
Wait.
It was going to be Ultra
He's number 2. Wow. Really? Huh. I guess because Daima and Super Saiyan 3 can kind of, like, rush him. Okay, I'm not opposed to these things. I would say I'm more confident in believing MV is number one than Vegito. I know some people are actually on the Vegito train of their man being number one there, but I would be more confident in MV than anybody else. I mean, if I'm playing PvP, I'd much rather use MV than use VB. That's just kind of how I determine my number one. Which one would I prefer to use to win matches easily? I'm using MV. If that's not what you're thinking, cool, no problem. But that's where I'm at. Nonetheless, interesting. The top four is definitely not what I expected in the order of it. Again, Vegito to Majin, I think it is a close thing, so I'm not going to gripe on that too hard. But Daima making it top four, I was not anticipating. I thought Super Saiyan 3 would be here. Turles being above Super Saiyan 3 is baffling to me as well. Though it's just one placement, I do think Super Saiyan 3 is a little bit better off than that, as well as Ultan being number 7. And again, look at the gap between 7 to 6. It's Super Saiyan 3 Goku, then Ultan. It should be Turles, in my opinion, but it's Super Saiyan Goku, then Ultan. That's kind of a varying gap there, right? Like, the actual unit goodness of what they're doing in the match. Ultan's cheerleading a lot at the beginning of the match. Then he has possibilities to help later on, but it's not even guaranteed. Super Saiyan 3 is just mediocre beginning of the match, but then he's doing amazing by the mid of the match. And then you just keep going forward and forward. And it's just like they get better and better the early game, the mid game, the late game. They do everything every single time of the match. But everything prior, like Ultan and below, is all doing mediocre most of the match. If not cheerleading, I guess UG4 is the exception, but even then, UG4, for a lot of times, is still cheerleading with, like, okay, Vegito's not into stop my combo, so I'll stop the combo with my gauge, and then does nothing. Like, but that's really what UG4 does a lot of the time. But nonetheless, interesting top 10. I would say the number 7 of Ultan is really what throws me for a loop here, and no mention of Shin, even top 10, just generally mentioned as honorable mention or top 10 or something, does throw me for a loop a little bit. But nonetheless, let me know what I think of Goresh's top 10 and my reaction to Goresh's top 10. And I'll see you guys in the next one.